Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Doctor Whomst. I'm Matt and I'm here along with...
Whomst the most? Tristan.
Yes, I want to say, I want to quote a famous philosopher as we start off this episode. There lived a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong, and his eyes a flaming glow.
Oh my
Most
god.
people looked at him with terror and with fear. But to Moscow chicks, he was such a lovely dear. I could keep going, but I think you know the rest. I cannot fucking believe they actually played that.
Matt's about to drop the disco ball. I can feel it.
I want to. It's in my heart. It's in my soul. It's me, Matt here, along with Tristan. We're talking about Doctor Who yet again because there was another Doctor Who special, The Power
of the Doctor.
There's gonna be spoilers in here if you haven't watched it. I highly suggest that you do. It was 2 hours long. Well, at least the version that I watched on BBC America. 2 hours long. Did not expect that.
Yeah.
I was worried there was going to be an hour-long special. If any of you heard that it was going to be longer, awesome. I try to keep away from all of the production details just so I can kind of get in as fresh as possible outside of like some trailers. Of course, we knew about who the next Doctor was going to be and how they fucking subverted that shit. We'll get to that later. But still, though, you know, we've been talking about Doctor Who, you and I, Tristan, for a while now. Just generally on the podcast, though, we've been talking even longer than that. Maybe one day we go back and talk about some of the earlier seasons. But as of right now, with where we are with Doctor Who, I have to say, while there's some things in this special I didn't like, I'm actually more optimistic for the series than I was going into this special. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've stayed about the same. But
But you were more optimistic than I was.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've had some hang-ups, but like I've enjoyed it pretty much about the same throughout the entire run.
All right. I have felt weird during Jodie Whittaker's run because while I love Whittaker, I mean, to be fair, I love the whole cast. I really enjoy them. It's just that the flux really put me off.
Yeah, I get that.
And also just, you know, Whittaker being the timeless child, or not Whittaker, but it's just Jodie Whittaker. No, the Doctor now being sort of a doctor in and out of time, and them not really addressing that in this special, kind of wrapping that up, I find odd. Maybe they feel like they already wrapped it up. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
I feel like that's going to be one of those, like, throwaway plot lines that no one else is going to touch type deal.
But it's very odd because, like, normally a showrunner would wrap it up and finish it on the way out.
Right.
And this is Chibnall's last special, as far as I know. They're going straight to Davies from here.
Yeah.
With the 60th, I'm under the impression. So,
right.
It's unless they're putting it in Davies' hands and he wants to pick it up and run with it in some way or another, it's odd to just drop it here like this. And, like, I feel like they were going to do more with it. Not that it's funny, I didn't like it, but if you did it, let's see where it goes.
Right. Yeah.
And it feels like, I mean, maybe in Chibnall's mind, the flux was their way of doing something with it, but it feels like there's more questions than answers, really.
Yeah. And, I mean, just as overall, like, I was, me and my mom were looking up, like, different runs of Doctors and everything, because she had also seen the special as well. She saw it before I did, actually.
A lot of people saw it before you and I did. I've been spoiled by some of it, and I'll have to talk about what it was later, which is frustrating. But also our friend Anthony, who podcasts with us and does Let's Plays with us over at Those Guys Play, he actually saw it before us as well. So it's just really funny hearing people around all of us be like, have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? And it's like, no, leave me alone.
Right. Yeah, the idea that, Jodie has been as the Doctor for 4 years, but, like, with everything that's happened within the last few years, like COVID especially being the main factor, it doesn't feel like, I don't know, like they got their fair shake at the series.
Yeah, both the Doctor and also the Master, and the Doctor and her relationship with Yaz, which I'm very, not very, but I'm definitely upset that there's so much, like, as much as I really, and honestly, I really do love this special in many respects. I feel like this is what the Flux should have been. And I wonder if Chibnall also thought the same thing, like just everyone going, man, the Flux sucked, man, it sucked, man, it's like, he's like, fine, I'll do it again, and all of you will fucking like it. Because I do think that, jumping between both timelines, having a bunch of different characters being juggled, trying to, tell this story in a fast-paced way that doesn't feel confusing.
Yeah.
It really feels like
I was a little cautious at first when I saw we were going to be jumping between past, present, and future.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it went a lot smoother this time around.
But so TV show logic versus real life logic. In the real world, right, having someone say to another person, I don't know if we could be together, means that, guess what? I don't think you two can really be together. But this is a TV show, so when you have that, normally you kind of have it culminate to a payoff, and it's really weird that the payoff was apparently, well, I guess we can't be
not happening. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not really the biggest proponent of the Doctor dating companions, because it just feels like there's just like, you are an alien from space, and I just feel like I would love to see the Doctor date other aliens, humanoid or not, love to see that, but like, having the Doctor and companion, I don't know about that. But, when you have something that I feel like it came out of nowhere, and then you and I were talking about last episode of the episode before, how, no, there were actually hints. So this is something that, people could have seen coming. I just did not. And then seeing it here, I thought, well, then this is fantastic. Let's see where it goes. And then it doesn't. Yeah. How odd.
Yeah, no, I was definitely disappointed with that as well, because I felt like they were building up to, Yaz and the Doctor having a relationship of, or no, just a relationship. But well,
it could have been a relationship, it could have been just a kiss and then loss.
Yeah, which
there was loss, but there was no, like it was, oh, we can't be together, and then the loss happens. And
then the Doctor was still like, hey, it's I'm sorry, it's still not, it's like, It was this weird culmination of the Doctor being like, well, I do have feelings for you, but we can't do anything about it, so that's just how it's going to stay. And it's like, oh, well, all right. And now it's like, well, now I'm dying.
Yeah, very odd. Yeah. I assume Chibnall was going to get more time.
Yeah, I don't feel that they had the time to build that appropriately, which I am disappointed about, personally.
Yeah, I don't know his work outside of Doctor Who. But in Doctor Who,
I believe he worked on Broadchurch, which is another show that my mom watches, and she really likes it. And that was a very popular show, as far as I understand. Anyway, so
Tennant and Whittaker were on it.
Right. Yeah.
So I've heard great things about it, but outside of that, like, I haven't seen this show. When it comes to Doctor Who, I'm not going to say that the BBC didn't pull the rug out from under him or that they didn't screw him over, but it seems as if they did screw him over, which I assume in some form or fashion they did, maybe budget, there were talks of rumored stuff, talks about like maybe the Flux supposed to be longer or whatever, but it seems as if and look, I don't envy his position having to make do with, getting all that shit changed and whatnot, but it seems like he just didn't cut out more than he should have, and I feel like this relationship shouldn't be cut out if it isn't going to be explored in such a way, because it just felt like it was or cut out or shown sooner.
Yeah, right.
Like more explicitly sooner.
Yeah.
Maybe Graham even mentioning something like, oh, and then she's like, wait, what? No. I mean, and maybe someone can say no, but he did. But like as friends.
Because like I feel like at one point Yaz and Ryan were talking.
Actually, that's true. You're right.
Not maybe specifically at that time about the Doctor necessarily, but Yaz and Ryan talking. Like, they kind of felt like they had a brother-sister dynamic going on.
Yeah. But no,
and like at first, like they might have teased like them getting together, but them like talking more to each other. They're like, nah, we're friends.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
no.
Them almost talking about, well, then who would you be into? And like, I forget exactly where in their runs that I felt that was sort of happening, but I did feel like that was happening at one point, and then it later on becomes a little bit more obvious that Yaz is like, oh, well, the Doctor, maybe.
And I really need to rewatch Doctor Who. There's just no time anymore for anything.
Yeah.
But I need to...
There's no time! The Daleks, the Cybermen!
It really feels like there's no time. With just all this stuff out there to watch. It's fun, but there's just a lot. So, yeah, I really need to rewatch that. And, a great place to frickin' rewatch that. If some of you have not heard the news, it's actually, in the U.S. anyway, the show is coming to Disney Plus, which is kind of weird. It makes sense.
Works out for me.
Well, actually, that's a great point because while I currently do have HBO Max where it airs, I don't know if you still do, but HBO Max is cutting so much shit,
right? Yeah.
That, honest to God, I'm not saying that I want to get rid of it or anything, but definitely having it be on Disney Plus. You have it for Star Wars, yeah?
Star Wars, yeah, obviously.
So yeah, well, if anyone hasn't listened, we also talk about Star Wars a lot here as well. Throughout the years. So when it comes to with our podcast Through the Force, but when it comes to Doctor Who on Disney Plus, it looks as if they also might be giving money to production as well. So hopefully that will, not that they're taking over the show, not that you're going to have like their handpicked directors or whatnot. Money does talk, but at the same time though, it's not like they're going to like replace Davies now. Right. Like they're currently like apparently Disney is just giving the money because they want the content. I'm a little bit worried if they put too much money into too much content because they're like, give us like more. 20 episodes a year. We don't need 20 episodes a year, in my opinion. We just need a solid 12 episodes a year and one special every single year. That's all I'm asking for. No 6-episode bullshit.
Yeah.
Again, COVID, so I fully get that.
Yeah, although honestly, I really feel like that was the biggest hurdle.
Yes, really but what I find confusing is you have. We shouldn't be talking about the Flux like this now. We're talking about the Doctor, but just one little quick thing: when you are dealing with, it helps filming with actors that they're in different locations because the risk of getting COVID is lower. But they jumped through so many different locations with so many different actors, and there was talk of maybe not being able to get all the footage that they needed. You were going so many different places in the Flux at all times. It was absurd. Right. So I really loved the way they condensed it here. I love seeing the Master again. Sad that it seems like it's the last time we'll be seeing this incarnation of the Master because the actor on Twitter basically said he had a great run. So I think he's under the impression he won't be asked back. I assume maybe they only contracted him for a few seasons. Sacha Dhawan, who Sasha actually was also on Iron Fist as well. I know that you hadn't seen Iron Fist. We talked about this before the podcast, Tristan, but he was fantastic in Iron Fist. He's definitely one of the shining lights in that show. And he definitely was for this special. I think he really carried it when you have, Whittaker's, her doctor's panic. Everything going on, juxtaposing that with Sasha's Master as this playful, even more playful than his first appearance as O. He's even more batshit.
Right, yeah. Yeah, he definitely ramped that up, but he just the amount of times that his disposition just shifts, he's joking around and screwing with you at one point, and then the next point his temper just flares up real quick, and it's so jarring and so off-putting, and it's amazing.
What I love about
the scene sticks out to you, you feel it, and it's oh, I don't want to be around you at all.
What I love about his performance is it wasn't just happy screaming to angry screaming. It was happy screaming to a low anger.
Yeah.
So he would be like, we should really have so much fun. Because if we don't, things can get real bad real quick. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah. No,
the way he talked to Yaz, where he was just I could be a lot of fun.
Oh.
It's just the way... by the way, the concept, I think, as well, of the Master hating his own skin and really just wanting to become the Doctor, I think is also a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
that they've explored. Arguably, you could say that this was an extension of the Timeless Child stuff, because him wanting to reveal that to her was because he was upset that she was the chosen one when he wanted it to be him. So arguably, you could say this ties into the Timeless Child stuff in a sense that it is a story has always been of the Master and the Doctor. The
Right,
problem
yeah.
is that they focused it on her so much that it feels weird to not focus on her aspect of it, especially when you call it the power of the Doctor, when you're really focusing on the Master's side of it. Interestingly enough, I mean, the first scene in this special starts off with the Master
Yeah.
as Rasputin.
Yeah, which was hilarious because I think you had even said it earlier when we were just chatting. It's like are we not supposed to know that's him? Because we all like watching it. We all know who that is.
Well, the trailer too. What the trailer did wrong, you heard his voice, which is good, but you also saw his face.
Yeah.
And so we saw him later in the special, but he has the long beard. So
Right.
I see him with the long beard, and I'm like, that's the Master. We're
Yeah.
like that. Yes, right? We all know this.
I feel like the Master just has a thing for going through time at some points and just picking like just picking specific historical figures that he's like, you know what, it'd be fun to be this person for a day. Why not?
Well, what I find interesting is for anyone who might not understand, like, why was he Rasputin? Remember Chibnall's love of historical figures, of just showcasing them in the show. So to have the Master, obviously the Master loves being other people, right? Loves taking on disguises.
Yeah.
So having him be disguised as Rasputin oddly makes all the sense in the world in the most absurd way. It just melds both worlds together. What I do find a little, not so much confusing, but just kind of like, oh, interesting how this was not explored. The Master, I guess, was
Like
beardless.
hypnotizing people?
Well, no, that's obvious. Because if you don't know, Rasputin came to power in a way that... and he was a mystic man.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So the whole point is like, oh, people were like, oh, this man has like... he must have like magic powers or something in the real world. That's what people were thinking of Rasputin. There's a lot of mythology, just general mythos around Rasputin. So it would make a lot of sense that he literally told Saint Nicholas, hey, you should go to war, leave.
Right.
Because Nicholas did go on vacation with his family for 2 weeks, and during that time Rasputin gained more power.
Right.
And so literally he told him, leave the country, and he did. And so that's where our story takes place. So there is some historical stuff going on in there mixed in with the obvious, not historical fact of, Daleks and Cybermen. But point is that it does make sense when you think about, Chibnall's logic and the Master's logic. The dance scene was one of my favorite things in Doctor Who that I've seen in a bit, because I didn't think they would do it. I thought about it. I was like, but they're not going to actually play the song.
Right, I did too.
They play the song, and they, like, you can just... What I love so much is when you can tell that an actor is having fun. And they're actors, so it's really hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah, because he just relishes in that scene for, like, a good solid few minutes.
Well, what's funny is apparently they did all that in like 1 or 2 takes. They just allegedly, Dawan noted that they just did it in 1 or 2 takes, and they didn't have that long to shoot it.
Right.
So he's just doing that. He's just dancing.
Yeah.
Like he's just dancing like that, and they're just like, great, keep it all.
Right.
And then obviously, I really enjoyed the shot of the Dalek and the Cybermen as well. Just like, what?
Yeah, standing in the background. This was not part of the deal. You said you would destroy the Doctor.
Well, what I find interesting, I don't know if you noticed this, but for some reason it came to mind for me with just, some of the more comedic elements and the long beard and just some of what his Master was saying. I've waited so long and da-da-da-da. It sounded like another way for them to kind of cherry pick something from that Red Nose Doctor Who special, if you remember the one,
right?
it feels like they've been cherry picking little things from it to make it canon. One of them was during Moffat's era, I time traveled before this, and then you time traveled, and then I was the sofa and the chair. It was
Right,
like,
yeah.
they took a little bit of that for the Doctor, for the 11th Doctor, a while back, and I had dinner with the architect. And it feels like they did something similar here with the Doctor's, forced regeneration and, the Daleks. And it was, by the way, I do like that they went back to the Daleks and the Cybermen. I know they've been overused, especially been used very much recently, but I feel like I
was surprised to really see the Cyber Masters that the Master had created a while back come back. I was like, oh, right, he did do that.
I actually forgot that he did, so thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
I thought they were new.
There were a few pieces, and even the last Cyberman too. Like, he was a big piece of one of the series runs. I forget exactly.
No. It was
at this point.
Yes, it was like 2 seasons back, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, you're talking about the one who you could see half of his.
Who was invading Unit? Yeah.
Yes. By the way, speaking of Unit, we've been clearly not talking about the Unit, the actual units of Ace, Tegan, and Kate.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking units. These tanks.
Yeah, I'm always really happy to see Kate come back.
Well,
I love her character.
I think the reason why I was so happy to see Ace and Tegan,
that too.
Did not see them during their runs. I have yet to see anything past Sarah Jane with the Fourth
I think
Doctor.
I maybe saw an episode or two with Ace. Tegan, I haven't seen it all, but again, I was also happy to see like past companions come back.
That's the thing, right? As someone who's a fan of, and here's my time to bring it up again as always, Japanese superheroes, cameos are always fun. But here's the thing, though. Obviously, you want your own stories to be told, their own stories to be told, and to actually watch new stories. So while I do appreciate that more than cameos, still, though, when you're getting closer to anniversary time, and we do have the 60th anniversary coming up, cameos are always a good fucking time. So having Doctors come back as well as companions come back,
that was really great too.
I'm a big fan of that. The only thing I do worry about with the Disney Plus acquisition is I hope that, or at least acquisition, the Disney Plus airings, and also putting some money into the production, I hope that it doesn't become the norm. Because honest to God, I want certain stories to be able to be told without cameos more so, and just having these be like nice little treats. When I say cameos, by the way, I'm referring to both companions and Doctors, not so much villains. Of course, we're always going to have Daleks and Cybermen and other villains come in and be like, you remember me, motherfucker? That's fine. I'm referring to actual, companions and just, actors that I just don't want them to be so much overused. But I have to say, though, I really, while I do have some mixed feelings on the newest Doctor being a later Doctor, an earlier Doctor, I do feel as if the companion kind of support group, I've always wanted something like that. And I am so happy that they're doing that. Not going to see them a lot, I'm sure, but just the concept.
Yeah, I kind of love the fact that it was like Graham, the one bringing everybody together, or coming up with the idea to have the support group. No,
it makes sense. He went through some trauma with the death of his wife, so it makes sense that a support group, he would be the one to bring it up. And I love it. I love that he knows Dan now. I hate how they wrote Dan off, because again, it feels like with how short the flux was, it feels like we just don't fucking know Dan, really.
Yeah, the scene with the train too, like, not when they're inside the train, but when they're outside the train, like, I don't know, didn't really, not that like the effects of space weren't nice, but like them in the spacesuits like floating off of it, or like being magnetically sealed to it, felt a little bit clunky. But like, Dan's helmet getting shot, and he's like, I was one grab away and from suffocating out in space. I mean, that makes sense to me. Like, he's like, I don't want to push my luck any further.
And he's right, by the way. Like, Jesus Christ, I would feel the same way.
Yeah.
It just sucks that they had to write him off like that.
I mean, I'm glad he came back at the end of the episode with Graham to be like...
I do too.
Yeah, especially to be there for Yaz when she leaves the TARDIS as well, because she definitely needed to have her group with her. Like, she took it like a champ, don't get me wrong. Like,
yes.
I think she's okay with what happens. Like, Yaz will be fine. She will return to her life and be, better for the time that she spent. But it's definitely nice to have the other companions be like, it's all right. We're all still together in this.
Yes. What I feel frustrated about, though, is, you write Dan out, which makes me think, oh, that's kind of what made me think, oh, we're going to explore the Doctor and Yaz's relationship.
Right.
And then, nah.
Yeah.
Actually. Never mind.
Right.
Forget that.
We could have had Dan here for the rest of this adventure.
And it would not have
detracted from any of that. Yeah.
I feel.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's what was frustrating. But let's talk about some good stuff. Like we kind of alluded to before, Unit. Actually, it's funny. I was about to say let's talk about good stuff, and then I thought of a negative thing. We'll get to that later. Negative thing. I really enjoyed, as much as I was mentioning before, how I don't know too much about Ace or Tegan. I feel like I've gotten to know them, and I like the characters that I've gotten to know.
Yeah. I love the fact that Ace literally just pulls off a panel, grabs her bomber jacket and a fucking bat, and goes, "Let's go," and a parachute.
When I love when Ace said, "I'm the Ace," and he goes, "Yes, you are."
Yeah. Yeah. I love the fact that she literally just smacks a Dalek in the eye stalk with a metal baseball bat, and then Graham throws on the explosive, and they're able to take it out.
So you mentioned not liking the special effect of them, although you liked the train. I like the train because it reminds me of Kamen Rider Denno, the train that travels through space and time.
Oh,
it
okay,
legit looks like it. I'll send you a picture of it later. But point is that I agree with you, though. The special effects, it felt weird. It felt weird that this was like a big thing that was happening at the start of the episode. But I want to say this much, though. My favorite special effect for the entire episode was Ace falling into the TARDIS and then the gravity shifting.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fantastic shot that they got.
Yeah. Budget definitely went to that one.
No,
but that was awesome.
It was fantastic because I was like, well, her gravity's going to have to shift. And if I'm remembering correctly, they didn't cut.
No.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah. And I love the fact that Yaz was the one piloting at that point.
Oh, right. That, too, I found interesting. Like, they tried to do some subtle stuff. Like, well, I mean, she is the only one that could pilot the TARDIS. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not kissing.
True, but it is
love.
Yeah,
love
that's
each
fair.
other. I want these two to love.
It's funny because you could even joke like the TARDIS approves of this ship. That's hilarious.
The ship approves the ship. Yes.
The irony of what I just did was not lost on me. Yes.
Also, I love the Joker-fied fucking TARDIS outside of the planet.
On the door. I was like, oh no. Because I immediately thought of, oh great, the Master's made a fucking paradox loop with his TARDIS again.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I was confused, and I don't think they explained it properly. Is that the Doctor's TARDIS? Or just a TARDIS?
I think that was a TARDIS that the Master had.
Oh my god, is your cat moving around?
Yes, he is.
That's fucking hilarious. I don't know if anyone can hear it. It sounded like a cat was just like... it sounded like two cats are walking around, and one of them was just like, "Long live the king." And I heard a bunch of shit just fall. That's so funny.
It didn't fall, but he's jumping around on the bookcases.
Oh, okay. It sounded like shit fell. So I'm like, oh god, is he okay?
Rocky likes to do that.
Yeah. So it's only Rocky making an appearance on this podcast, right?
Well, Tux is here too, but he's a little more quiet.
Tux is here. This is like Ace coming back. What the fuck?
Yes, I have my two cat companions.
I don't think I've ever seen Tux.
No, I don't think you have.
That's fantastic. So
now I'm just waiting for Patches to run out of the bedroom and be like, "I'm here too."
Well, that's the thing. Normally, she's the one that's curled up. While we're talking about stuff. So, but speaking of talking about stuff, here we are doing such a thing. One of the things that I didn't like, though, is and it's something that's been done time and time again, it's just an overused thing. It's kind of very much dead, beaten to death with a baseball bat. Is
like that Dalek.
Is the Master, or in any case, just a villain, wanting to be captured because that was his plan all along.
All along. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, they did that again?
Yeah, and you'd think of all people, Kate would be the one to be like, ha ha ha, not this time.
Let's actually take him to the other location. The what? Yeah, the other location.
The other location.
I thought that's what they were doing. I'm like, they're not going to possibly take him into Unit. Oh my god, they're actually taking him into Unit.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's
confusing.
That's fair. I didn't actually think about that the first time, but that is a valid point.
Yeah, and that's kind of... It's one of those things where it's like, there definitely are some things that I didn't like about this special, but overall, though, I really enjoyed it, and I really do recommend it.
Oh, yeah, overall, it was a lot of fun.
That's what it is. It was fun, you know?
Like, seeing the Daleks at all of the volcanoes across the Earth having, like, these machines to set off, volcanic activity, I'm like, oh, wow, that feels like a classic plot, and that's, like, I'm here for it.
I don't know if I should have laughed, but I kind of laughed when the volcanoes overtook the Daleks as they were running away. I shouldn't have laughed, but there were some that were on the outskirts, and then boom, and I was like, oh my god.
I didn't think that would actually destroy them. Like, I mean, granted, like, they are basically singular weapons of mass destruction, and I know, like, the power of their shielding is kind of like, we've gone back and forth on it, but, like, for a second I'm like, oh, that shouldn't affect them, and then they exploded, and I'm like, oh, well, it is a volcanic explosion, that is a lot of energy.
Yes. What I found very interesting, and this is what I love about Doctor Who, the positivity, I guess, surrounding change, and that people can change and that characters can change. Having a Dalek defector that we haven't really seen since arguably the 9th Doctor, of having like I think it's been that long, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, 12 met with one, but he was still kind of like, kill the Doctor.
Right. It's been a bit. Yeah, so...
Yeah, Rusty.
Right. Actually, right. So, for me to see, like, him be... This Dalek be outwardly defecting...
But yeah, I don't think that we've actually seen a Dalek speak in those words of, our directive does not make sense to me anymore. I was like, huh.
Now, it's weird, though, because they kind of... It's one of those things where it's like, he changed... But he also is like, we must... It's weird, because...
The Daleks do not deserve to survive.
And then I was like, well, no, that sounds like that's still you talking. That's bad.
Right. But that's why I love Jodie's line of, like, wow, your creator would be, like...
Yeah.
Livid and also horrified by that statement.
Not livid. He would be happy and horrified.
Yeah, right, that's what I meant.
But, but the thing is, when I talk about the change, I talk about the idea of, like... the character looking inward to itself, being like, I do not deserve to survive. That kind of also happened with the 9th Doctor. That Dalek was just like, I just want to see this. Like, that Dalek being like, you having Rose's genetic material then, and starting to become emotional. Yes.
That it was like, this is not freedom, this is sickness.
Oh, yeah, no, that always makes me cry. So, seeing this Dalek, I think it was fascinating. Well, it's still part of itself, part of the Dalek. Still a Dalek. This idea of defecting and not lying about it. Oh, no, we let him be a dick. We let him be a dick.
We let him defect? Oh, shit.
Which is, I expected that, if not a complete lie. Although it's funny, at first I was like, I believe him. Then, like, 5 minutes later, I was like, why do I believe him?
Right.
Like, I was like, why do I believe a Dalek? And then it's like, no, technically, it was okay for you to believe a Dalek. It's not all of them, technically. I mean, again,
unfortunately,
putting the gun on himself and his entire species, but, like, at the same time, the idea of...
hilarious because the Daleks' like main motivation is still genocide at the very core of that idea. So
That
it's
is
like,
an
no,
issue.
no, wait, you're still there.
Yeah, no, that's the one part of it that in my brain, I was like, let me erase that. And then I was like,
Hang
wait,
on.
no, we gotta bring that. That is still technically there. But I do enjoy change, even in small ways. Like, they don't use, sometimes they do for the plot have to say like, oh, all the Cybermen are like that, all that. But every now and again, they make sure to let you know, like, no, it's not every single XYZ. Like, if you remember, Clara's fiance,
Yes, yeah.
when he
Danny.
became Danny, when he
Pink.
became yes, Danny Pink,
Mr.
when he
Pink.
became a Cyberman,
Oh God, yeah,
he helped them.
yeah.
And also, one of the Cybermen was supposed to be Lethbridge Stewart, Kate's dad.
Right. Yes, I do remember that now.
He ended up giving the Doctor a salute.
Right. Yeah, that was nice.
Yes.
Oh, that was one of the Master's lines, just looking back at Kate before he's
Ooh,
pushed
right,
into
yeah.
the elevator and being like, oh yeah, by the way, your father was an idiot. I'm like, wow, you are just extra spicy today, huh?
Well, it's funny that, it's funny. I didn't like that line because most of them were like kind of like witty-ish.
Yeah.
And
No,
like
I
a
felt
little,
like that one was just being spiteful just for the
Yes.
sake of it.
yes, that's why I didn't like it. I was just like, hey,
Oh,
come on,
okay.
man.
Well, because
No,
I
'cause
mean, like arguably he does it worse to Tegan too, because he's like, I gave you that little Cyberman doll because I knew you'd take it with you, because evidently you find out later, if you hadn't seen her run, her husband was killed by Cybermen. So I was like,
oh, that's who it was.
You ass.
I knew someone she loved. I didn't know it was her husband.
Yeah, when she has that talk with the Doctor hologram.
Yeah, no, I know that he apologized for
Yeah.
what was the character's name again? Who died?
God, this is where I get to feel horrible because I can't remember either.
I love how
Something with an H.
I love how we both know half of the story. That's really funny.
Two halves of a whole idiot.
Yeah, it was Adric.
Right, okay.
Tristan thought it was Hadric because honestly that sounds very close. But I was like, is it? Adric, who I don't believe was her husband.
Oh, okay. Maybe just another companion then.
Yes.
They might have just been friends. Like
Or
I
more.
said, I haven't seen that.
Well, has
run,
Anthony told you maybe they get together in Big Finish? I have no idea.
Oh,
Big Finish telling you the stories that you want to see on TV, but for $49.95.
oh, well, I mean, he's only got work at 5 in the morning. I'm sure I could call him up and ask him.
Yes, we'll do this live.
There we
So,
go.
Explain.
By
the way, that joke $49.95. Those shits are expensive.
Oh, definitely, but
Yeah.
well worth it.
I've heard they are. Yeah, but my God. So,
Yeah.
point is that they're. By the way, the doctors. We should clarify. Talk about how cool that was because I've wanted something like that scene for a while now. The
Yeah.
idea of the doctor seeing versions of her or themselves before regeneration,
Yeah.
kind of like at a crossroads of some kind.
Yeah.
I've
and here
wanted
we
that
are.
for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was a really neat and well shot scene. Like,
Yeah,
them
I
just
thought of
sitting
it-
there at a crossroads.
Yeah, I thought of it as more of like a foggy kind of like before you
True.
go on to. That's the way I
Yeah.
thought of it in my head. But seeing a crossroads like that and seeing like the hill and being told no, it's not your time yet, fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's something that, I'm so happy to see we got the first Doctor, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I expected the 8th. I should have expected the first because, of course, we had a different actor playing him. The same actor who played him with 12.
Yeah.
I should have expected him, but I didn't. But I expected the 8th because we've seen much more of McGann and we've heard him in Big Finish. So I knew, I was like, if this is going to happen, it's going to be the 8th. It's going to be the first. Did not expect 5, 6, and 7. And 5, 6, and 7, of course, being Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah.
And McCoy, I feel like you can tell because his hair is somewhat similar, just of course white. The 5th Doctor, you can vaguely tell because also we sort of have seen him recently. Not super recently, but he was in Time Crash.
Right. I love Tegan's joke with him being like, Oh, I almost didn't recognize you. You look so different. Well, you
I could
you
say
look
the
a bit
same
older
about you.
too.
I could say the
Yeah.
same about you.
Right. That
The
was
Sixth
great.
Doctor is what was throwing me off because not only have I not seen his work, but you're not. He's none of them were in their traditional Doctor attire, at least until
Right.
you saw them later in holograms with the companions. So when you see them in the Crossroads, he doesn't have his attire. He doesn't have his hair. I understand putting a wig on him would have been silly, but if you had given him a wig that was a little bit shorter and white, I
Right,
think it would have worked.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But having a completely shaved head, when you see his picture, you're like, oh my god, of course that's Colin Baker. But as
Right.
someone who didn't see his doctor,
yeah.
I was like, I don't know which doctor that is. And I felt bad because McCoy has a face, even though his hair was similar, you could tell it's McCoy.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, McGann, I mean, that man barely looks like he's aged. It's kind of
Yeah.
concerning. I'm a little concerned he and David Tennant are vampires. But
Yeah. I mean,
that's neither here
it's
nor there.
entirely possible.
Yes. Although I will admit, though, something
you know
weird
too much.
happened. Speaking of Tennant, something weird happened. I don't know if you noticed this. Seeing
Oh no!
him,
What,
seeing him
what could
and
you
others,
possibly be talking about?
No, not. I don't even mean that. Seeing him in other stuff,
Right.
he looks like he hasn't aged a day.
Oh yeah.
But for some reason, seeing him as the Doctor, it looks like he has. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
My
But
brain, in my
'cause
head,
if-
right, when I see him in a new role, seeing him as Kilgrave, I was like, this man hasn't aged.
Aged
Kilgrave
today,
and Jessica
yeah.
Jones.
right.
He's not aged, and maybe the beard helped, but I was like, but he's not aged. He just hasn't.
Yeah.
This is insane. This is absurd. Watching him here in a similar Doctor attire with my brain like having the context of the show, even though I haven't seen 10 in a while, but for some reason just having that context, it does look like he's aged. And let's make something very clear. Still very fucking attractive. Doesn't saying he's aged in no way means that I'm like, ugh. No, right?
Right.
But just that he has visibly
He is-
aged, and
He
it's
is aged
odd.
like fine wine.
Correct. But it is odd because I can see him in promotional work for other stuff or in trailers for other stuff, and he hasn't aged there. But like, I guess my mind juxtaposes him as 10 even subconsciously because I just see him on screen and I'm like, you're older.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's also like if you look at him back, like your mind brings you back to when
That's
he
what I'm saying.
played the Doctor. Like he's a maybe not a young man, but a much younger man at that point. So like, yeah,
I mean,
there
dude,
is going
that was
to be
literally in 2006. That was 16 years ago. We just weren't watching that.
Oh, you had to put a date on it.
I had to put a date on it because
Yeah.
look, we weren't watching at the time. Or, maybe you were. I wasn't.
I
wasn't
was
until...
watching soon after at that point.
Oh, I was watching in 09.
Right. Yeah, I think probably a little bit before then. Maybe. Well, I don't know. I can't remember now. But I have a funny story about. So finish your thought first.
Okay, no, I remember watching 09 with my... Actually, no, not 09. Sorry, 2010. The reason why is because that's when 11 started. Someone on the internet was telling me, oh, no, this is a great time to start because it's the new Doctor. And then I watched the first episode, and I was like, oh, my God, I have to show my girlfriend. And girlfriend at the time, we dated a while. I was like, oh, and we're still kind of friends. I was like, oh, we should, like, watch this series called Doctor Who. And she was like, oh, okay. She was like, I don't know, but she's like a nerd. At the time, definitely, she was into a lot of, like, nerdier stuff. So we watched Doctor Who, and she was completely floored by it. She was like,
Right.
this is amazing. I mean, Matt Smith as 11 was fantastic, and I think it's a great place to start with Doctor Who. Maybe that's, that run hasn't aged as well, especially I didn't like, personally, some of the latter parts of that run. But I have to say that Series 5, at the time, was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, your story.
So I had mentioned earlier that my mom had watched the special before I did.
Right.
So she came in, like my parents were having dinner or whatever. I was watching the special in the living room, and it starts to get towards the end of the special, and she starts hanging around, to watch it. And I thought, oh, she's just gonna watch it again, and wanted to see it with me. But no, little did I understand that she was waiting specifically for the, after regeneration scene to see my face.
Mm-hmm.
And when, Jodie regenerates and Tennant comes out, I said, what? Before he did, and my mom laughed so hard. And, she looks up and he goes, that's what he said. And he says what too, and she just laughed so much. I was like, I'm glad I could make you happy with that.
Yeah, so I sadly was spoiled because of the internet. Because people don't know, and I'm going to be polite here, because, look, some people just, they're really excited about something. Some people don't know how to shut the fuck up. And that's me being polite.
The master?
And, yeah. No, I was just so upset because, I was so, yeah, and I will say upset. I won't even correct myself. No, I was actually fucking upset because it was like, look, this just came out. It hasn't been that long since. I mean, this came out on the 23rd, right? Yes, on the 23rd. And I'm getting spoilers by, the latter half of the week. And, some people's YouTube channels, they were trying to be nice at first, but then they started spoiling. But, look, you know what? It's your YouTube channel, and I subscribe to you, and I like your stuff. That's fine, right?
Right.
It's more so news articles that are trying to push it that I'm like, please, let people watch this. For some odd reason, movies, and I've talked about this before on different stuff that we've done, I think the Star Wars stuff as well through the Force, when it comes to movies, as much as there are always going to be some bad actors trying to fuck with you and spoil something day one or week one, people have kind of come together and been like, listen, if I get spoiled, I'm beating you to death with my bare hands. And I feel like that's deterred people
right
from spoiling. TV shows, they're like, if it airs at 3 a.m., I will spoil it by 3:01. And it's like, how?
Yeah.
How is this possible? Literally, if I'm up and a new Star Wars thing is out and it airs at 3 a.m. on Disney Plus, by 4 a.m., spoilers are up. And people are like, can you believe that Hobie Dun Danobi was, talking a gloop blub blub? And I'm like, oh, fucking, they got back gloop?
You mean Glub Shitto?
Yeah, Glub Shitto. Oh my god, they were playing Jizz at the bar? That's insane. It just really, frustrates me. And it seems like Doctor Who is not immune to this. If there is a television show that you like, and there is an internet
near you,
stay away.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's just the reason why it's gotten so bad. It used to be, back in my day, it used to be, hey, come on, don't go on the forums.
Right.
Hey, come on, don't go to the news website that talks about Doctor Who. It's called Doctor Who News. Are you a fucking moron?
Idiot. Right, yeah.
That's what it used to be. Now it's
just
hey, don't exist.
Yeah.
Until you see this. And I'm like,
any social platform whatsoever.
Yes. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't get spoiled.
I am too, actually.
I'm extremely shocked. I got spoiled on Facebook.
Because I definitely have Facebook, Doctor Who pages that I subscribe to, but...
Yeah, Twitter and Facebook, honestly, both spoiled me. One of them went harder than the other, and then a little bit of YouTube, but by that point I think it was solidified that I was spoiled. So,
right, yeah. Your spoiling had finally, the regeneration was finished cooking.
Well, I'll explain it to you like this. I was kind of like, oh, I'm really hoping, and cross my fingers, that when they say David Tennant is coming back, they mean in the 60th. And then I heard the word regeneration, and then I was like, yeah, but maybe I'm, yeah. And then I saw literally someone posted a blurry picture of.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, all right, I'm fucking done here.
Yeah.
This is absolute bullshit.
Yeah, and so honestly, I don't know how to feel about that. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to see Davies and I'm happy to see David Tennant. I loved their writing and their run and their performance. But as just the show, the Doctor's lore and the show's long-running existence in bringing in new people for each new series, I do kind of wonder how this will play out and affect things in the future.
So so this is how I feel. Plot wise, I think this makes sense oddly. Because initially, right, removing the plot for a second, I had talked about on this very show,
Yeah.
going into this, I swear to God, I really hope that 13...
That was the first thing that came to mind, actually,
Yes.
was you talking about it. I'm like, oh.
Well, that's the thing. Because of the storyline, in my opinion, and I think they're going to expand on this, I hope that they do, being, okay, the Master fucking with all of this, trying to essentially... Because the word forced regeneration arguably was wrong. It was like a fusion regeneration. It was very bad.
Yeah.
Because he used the phrase forced regeneration, and arguably it was that, because the Doctor was being erased. But having the Master take over as a dominant...
Yeah, like, just juxtaposing, himself over the Doctor's, like...
Well, no, like, imprint.
Lives. Yeah. Basically, like, in Ten's run, the Master, at that point, when he copied himself over all of humanity...
Oh, okay, yes. A bit like that, yes.
A bit like that, but, like, doing it onto the Doctor. Like, I think it was worse in this point. And also, it made me feel worse. Like, this honestly might actually be the most unsettled that I've been by the Master for all of time.
And I think the reason why it worked is because it felt like... Here's what it felt like, right? It felt like... seeing Santa Claus, and then Santa Claus takes off the beard, and you're like, wait, what? And it's actually Uncle Bob, and you're just like, I don't hate Uncle Bob, but he's not Santa. That's kind of what it feels like, sort of. Like, it's like another... Oh, actually, no, this is what it feels like. It kind of feels like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's another person taking over that body, and it's like, no, I'm the Doctor. I'm the same person. But you know it's not.
Yeah.
And you're being, like, and this is using the word correctly, gaslit by the person, being like, no, I am the Doctor. It's me. It's me, everyone. I am the Doctor. And it's just this, like, completely unsettling, and it's like, you know, there's a part of you, and he cracked a little bit, but there's a part of you that makes you think, okay, no, he's not the Doctor, and he knows it. But there's also a part of you that thinks, does he really know it?
Right.
And that's what is... And does he truly believe it now?
Right.
And that is what was...
just unhinged enough to actually truly believe it.
Yes, and that is what was unsettling and beautiful about his performance as the Master.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he believed the bullshit, or if it was a fun little fucked up mind game that he was playing with people.
Yeah.
And you never know when he's straddling that line.
Right. Yeah.
Or when he's crossed it.
Yeah, his deliveries were beautiful. Like that one moment in the TARDIS when he snaps and like screams at Yaz and is like right in her face. I'm like, I was so uncomfortable, but like it was delivered so perfectly.
Yeah, and he's in the Doctor's clothes.
Yeah.
No matter which, by the way. No matter what version
down to the
on.
Earpiece, too, which I was like, oh my god, even that.
Well, yeah, that looked good on him. But generally, though, like, no, because when he changes into an amalgam of other Doctors.
Yeah.
That also was, it felt like it's just like a man coming in. Like, it literally would be, you know, it's not like a stepdad thing, because a stepdad, you could have two dads now, right? That's cool. In this case, it's like if he murdered your father, and then was like, excellent, now I'm just gonna like wear the clothes. I'm gonna wear his clothes. Yeah. I'm your new dad, son. Don't go in the closet. That's where his body is. Anyway. That's basically what it felt like. It felt like a murder and I'm going to
parade around
in his clothes, like a normal person would.
Yeah.
Like a normal, average, everyday person. This is what anyone would do, right? And it's just like, this is deeply disturbing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I loved it all the same, because it made me feel uncomfortable in a way that Doctor Who doesn't usually make me feel, because I'm 30.
Right.
So it's very hard to make me feel uncomfortable, especially with something like Doctor Who that's a lot more like, you know, family friendly.
Yeah.
So it definitely helps me feel uncomfortable in a beautiful way.
Right.
In a good way.
And I'm glad at the end, though, that they brought it back to, like, feeling happy and comfortable again. Because I will readily admit that Jodie's regeneration was beautiful. Like,
Oh yeah,
her
no,
speech
especially
was
the
beautiful.
sunset.
Yeah, the sunset,
was-
like, the sunset, her setup, she's, like, not sad. Like, yeah, no, she really wasn't really that sad. At first, she was sad, but, like, as it's happening, she's like, no, it's okay. I love the line of her saying, "Tag, you're it." Like, that felt very, very 13.
Yes. Also, I loved just her saying to the TARDIS, "Take care of the next one." That got me.
Right.
That started. I was like,
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah, no,
okay.
I cried. I'm not, I'll
Yeah.
readily admit it, I cried.
yeah, no, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It definitely gives me some more hope for the series. I agree with you though, because I brought this up, the last few episodes, that I am concerned that this might start a trend of having the Doctor, not like an immediate trend, just I don't want it to set up in the future having more situations where the Doctor regenerates into a previous incarnation.
Yeah.
Because, and here's the thing, I would rather, if there's a situation where they're like, no, but we want to bring back David Tennant, just say he's 10 again. Oh, but he looks older. I don't give a shit.
Right, yeah.
Let's just say he's 10 again, and let's have some fun for a few episodes. or
Exactly.
something, right?
Before, like, the new season comes out or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
if you want more Doctor Who content, we want 2 Doctor Who series a year. Fine then, bring back an old Doctor.
Right, and have some adventures with that older Doctor. And that's,
Yes.
like, I'd be fine with that, too, yeah.
Exactly. It does not need to be a regeneration.
Right.
Obviously, yes, there are some Doctors that are significantly older.
Right.
But if Christopher Eccleston wants to come back for another round,
Yeah.
give him 6 episodes, and I'm fine with that. He doesn't have to be a regeneration again. No,
Right.
I would rather they not do that. And by the way, you mentioned how this is going to go moving forward, at least with 10, or with, this new, now, the 14th Doctor being David Tennant somehow.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be him for long, because
No.
they've already
Yeah.
announced Ncuti Gatwa.
Right.
We saw a little bit of him. There was a teaser trailer, and he was shown just briefly.
Right.
So he's going to be in the 60th. We know that. So I assume that.
Oh, right. That was
What?
the other thing. I could have sworn that I saw his face flash for a moment as Jodie was regenerating. I could be wrong. Like, it was only for a few seconds.
I didn't get the chance to watch it again before so I don't know.
Yeah, I could be
I haven't
wrong.
seen it.
I'm not 100% certain either.
Yeah,
And then
I only saw it once.
Tennant comes out and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, I was unable to watch it again. I saw you mention that either through text or you told me over the phone. So I've yet to see that again, so I can't confirm that did happen. But again, that would be fascinating if that was the case.
Yeah.
Because again, I do feel like the Master doing this completely fucked up her regeneration cycle in some form or another.
Right.
And I think
that
that's why.
Yeah, me and Anthony were, like, thinking about, like, along those lines as well. As to why, like, as a starting point for an explanation of why 10 is back.
Well, because I mean, they explained
Like,
the
story-wise.
12th Yeah, they explained the 12th Doctor off in a way that they never needed to, by saying, "Oh, do you remember when you were at Mount fucking
Pompeii?
Pompeii?" I was like, "Wait, what? You actually did that?" Like, if you can do that,
Yeah.
I think they're going to explain why Tennant is back.
Right.
Especially if we're going to have Donna again, which is fascinating because when you hear that Donna is going to be here, right? Wilf is going to be here. Wilfred.
Whoa.
And
they
they filmed before the actor passed away.
Right, the actor passed. Oh shit, that's gonna be. I mean,
It
that'll be
is.
amazing, but, like, also heartbreaking.
It's going to
at the
hurt
same
in
time.
2 different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So he came back. I thought they were going to do, the 10 and the Doctor. I'm sorry, 10 and the Doctor. That's funny. 10 and Donna
Right.
are going to be together
Yeah.
somehow. But, like, previous version of them somehow.
Right.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
No, it seems as if it's going to be 14 with the face of 10. That's going to make things real interesting, ain't it?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Oh, hey, you're my doctor. Well, yes, but no. Oh, that's the thing. One thing that I find interesting, and I guess this is something that I do find interesting to speculate on. even though, yes, David Tennant is playing the 14th Doctor, is he a new Doctor? Or is he 10 again?
Right. Yeah.
That'll be interesting. There's
Right.
I think they're only going to do this one special with him, so they might just go the route of I'm 10 again. Makes sense.
Right.
But in the future, by the way, that would be cool, I think. If you, and I think I told you last episode or 2 episodes ago, this is something that I would like. Bring an older actor who played a Doctor back to do something completely different.
Right. Yeah.
That would be fascinating. I don't think they're going to do that here. I don't think they're going to have enough time to do that. I think they're just going to go with 10 again.
Right.
But it would be fascinating if he's like, I'm 10 but not. Because think about it, he's been other people in between 10 and now.
Yeah, true.
So I'm interested to see what interpretation of a regeneration do they go with. Do they go with, no, every Doctor is different? Or do they go with, well, the Doctor really is just different people throughout his lives, but it's the same, or their life, but it's the same Doctor?
Right, yeah.
Like, which route do they go? Because I would argue for 13, they went with all the Doctors are different. Because Jodie was very different as the Doctor than some other Doctors that we've seen. Like, very reserved. Like, it felt like we were kind of seeing 9 again. With, like, not really talking about... Although 9 did talk about history, his history a bit in the beginning. But generally, though, like, 9 was a bit more reserved.
I feel. Not talking about his past at all.
Well, no, 9 did. But, like, when it was plot relevant for fans to know.
Yeah.
More so than I'm trying to get to know you.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see. Do you think he's going to be 10 again? Or they might do something different?
I have no idea, honestly, at this point. I had no idea, so this completely threw me for a loop.
We should clarify. So as we're recording this, you saw it today. The day of recording.
The day before.
The day before, right, okay. Because I saw it 2 days before, so I've had some time to stew on this. Although this is a new thought of him being 10 again, or 10 different. But yeah, you just saw this, like, and you've been mostly working. So your existence was work, sleep, Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And you're here.
Yeah.
We just took the bag off your head. We're like, you should say something about Doctor Who. And you're just like,
basic.
wow, we're 10? Tenant? So and, no, yeah. But the thing is, again, Ncuti Gatwa is supposed to be in the next special. So
right. Okay.
I don't know if, we were under the impression that he was going to be meeting 10. So no, is he going to be meeting himself? Like, is there going to be some weird time shenanigans? You said that you saw his face. If that is true,
I thought. Anyway.
If that is true, how interesting would it be if the Doctor regenerated separately and has to find a way to come back together or something?
Like into separate people?
Yes.
Huh.
Because, again, clearly things got fucked up weird.
Yeah.
Speaking of things fucked up weird, I forgot to mention this before we kind of got off track. The Master being in the present day and also 1916, I'm assuming he was present day Master and then eventually went to the past? Because arguably he was in two places at once.
At once, yeah. Which I feel like he was pulling a paradox, but they didn't really delve into that too much, so I'm not sure.
No, but I'm assuming that because he had the beard that he naturally grew. I'm assuming he was like, I will one day get out of this to go back into the past.
Or that he basically imprinted himself upon Rasputin to see if he could do it first, and then did it with the Doctor. But I don't know that was the idea either.
Oh, right. He also, he did the little, he turned them all into toys as well, all the geologists, which is not going to affect the world at all.
Oh, no. Yeah, no.
Everything's going to be fine.
It'll be fine, yeah.
You know what I love? I love what a good Doctor Who plot is just like, hey, I know we saved the day, but we still probably have a lot of damage to do. Are we ever going to address that? No. All right.
Yeah, well, I love when Kate calls in the Doctor. She's like, I'm a little busy. It's like, we're missing 15 geologists and famous paintings around the world have gone missing. And she's like, yeah, and there's a Dalek attack imminent on the planet. This is what you called me for.
And Kate was like, wait, what?
Yeah, wait, what?
But yeah, also by the way, the Cybermen growing, I did not expect that, and I should have. Oh, Cybermen
Right.
toy given to me by the Doctor. I was like, that does make sense. That's something that the Doctor would do, and I was like, wait, no,
Well, that's
a
yeah,
traumatic
that's,
experience. Why
yeah.
would the Doctor do that?
Why would the Doctor do that?
Well, no, because to me, it felt like the Doctor would do it not to be like, yay, a toy. Would be like, this is a warning.
Right.
This
Yeah,
is
they're
serious.
coming. Yeah, exactly.
But no, it's the Master being like, it would be like the Joker sending a miniature miniature crowbar
Oh.
to Batman.
Yeah. Ugh.
That's kind of what it's like doing. And so it's just something that I should have picked up on because I knew about the connection to the Cybermen killing one of the Doctor's companions.
Yeah.
But it didn't click to me that, like, oh, the Master would do it. And then, of course, Cybermen become big.
Right. Yeah.
And that was interesting
The
to see.
shrinking works in reverse. Oh crap.
Because it does.
Yeah.
It's just that the Master has to be the one to do it. So that's why they basically say that those people are essentially dead. Because
Right.
the Master will never
Yeah, undo
fix
it.
it. Yeah.
I love the fact that Ace was literally like, "All right, kick over the table."
Oh, yeah, no.
That
it
was beautiful.
Yes. It was just, Ace is just like, I know where all the weapons are all the time.
Pulls the grate out and pulls out the submachine guns.
Yep.
That was fucking beautiful.
No, I love her so much. So yeah, and as we wrap this thing up, we have to talk about the fact that they brought back fucking
classic
Ian
companions.
Chesterton.
Right.
And they brought back Joe Grant.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there weren't other companions that were cool, but for
Right,
me,
and,
those were the two that stick out to me.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Barbara too, because it was
No. I said that Ian and Barbara traveled together
with
originally.
the first Doctor.
Not
yeah.
that Barbara was here.
Oh, okay.
I was
yeah.
just telling you, because what happened was I was telling Tristan over the phone, oh my god, they brought back Ian, and you were like, I know that name, and I was like, ah.
Yeah, because I saw the name tag. Like, I didn't recognize him facially, but I'm like, Ian, I know that name. I'm like, that
did?
was one of the first companions.
I did because he had short hair, so like
Yeah.
I could see his face, and it could be like with that short hair, and I was like, oh my god, it's Ian.
Yeah,
but
it's
also by
also
name, too.
been quite a while since I've seen the first Doctor's episodes too.
Yeah,
but
it's been a while for me as well, but I think the name Ian Chesterton, because it's so unique, it's one that stuck with me.
sticks, right?
And so also just like, so if anyone's unfamiliar, so the original Doctor, William Hartnell, with his granddaughter Susan, and then
Susan,
Ian
right.
Chesterton and Barbara. Ian and Barbara were school teachers. Susan was at school, and they were talking to each other, and they were like, you know what's so weird? The new student that we have, she's so smart. Like, she is like clearly like past a 6th grade level, and we want to talk to her grandfather, but she doesn't really tell us where the address is, and we just want to say, she's a good student, but she's a little bit of an odd duck. Well, why do you say that? Well, she talked about humans traveling to space, and we were like, well, humans can't. This is, by the way, in real time in the 60s, remember?
Right, yeah.
And it's like, and humans can't travel to space. And she was like, well, my grandfather has. And we were like, well, that's absurd. So they follow her to where she lives, and they're like, this is a dump, because
Right.
that's where the TARDIS is located.
Yeah.
And then they go into the TARDIS, and they're like, what the fuck? And she's like, oh, hi. And the Doctor's just like, who the fuck are these people? Well,
Susan, what have you
Grandfather,
done?
These are my teachers. Well, I guess we have to knock them over the head. You will do no such thing. Well, you can't really be in here for that long because, we're traveling. What? Like, and then, like, they accidentally go to, like, I believe the first place they ever traveled to was literally cavemen times, because that's
Yeah.
when the show was meant to be educational, going into the past.
Right.
Another early one was the French Revolution. Although, to be fair, very quickly they met the Daleks. It was
Yes.
very quick. But
I think it
still,
was even before they had like become the things that we know them as now.
what do you mean?
Well, I think I can't remember the exact serial, but I think it was like two, like they still looked humanoid, and it was like two warring like groups. I
No.
could be thinking of a different serial.
You might be
but-
thinking of a different serial. No, I'm thinking of the Daleks. In the basically it was like an older planet. I think it was supposed to be their planet, but in the future and dead. And then it's the Daleks going around on the grids. Yeah.
right.
Like they couldn't
Yeah,
really
they
do
were Daleks
much.
proper at that point.
Yeah, they were Daleks proper. You might be thinking of a different one, Not Revolution. I forgot which one you're thinking of, where they're like in Earth's future, and that's where I think they end up leaving Susan.
Yes. Well, yeah,
'Cause
that was
Susan
later
meets a
on.
boy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're thinking of a different one. Yeah, that was such a weird way to, like, you have the guy who's, it literally his granddaughter. If anyone doesn't
Yeah.
know, the way his granddaughter, the Doctor's granddaughter, left
Leaves
the
the
show
TARDIS.
is she meets a boy in the Earth's future fighting the Daleks, and she goes, "Grandfather, I would like to leave and stay with him." And he goes, "Oh, well, all right then. I'll miss you, Susan."
In the middle of a war with the Daleks.
And then leaves. And I was like, well, I think they won the war.
Oh, okay.
But I don't care.
Or, yeah.
She goes, "I would like to leave for a boy that I just met in this serial."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, all right then, Susan. Take care. Jolly good." And then goes into the fucking TARDIS, and they go away, and we never see her again.
Yeah. Unless it's a picture frame on his desk at some point.
Yeah, it's so odd.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever seen her again.
I don't know, man. It's the 60s. What do you want?
It's so weird. I'm happy that we saw Joe Grant again. She was the Third's companion.
Right.
She also appeared in what was it? She appeared in the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Right.
She I think I've sent you those clips where the Doctor was like, "Have you gotten some work done?" And she was like, "How dare you?" But yes, and then Melanie Bush or Mel, who I don't know too much about her. Oh, she was a companion for the 6th and 7th Doctor. That's why I don't know too much about her. But she was also part of that little roundup at the end there.
Right.
I loved it so much. Like I said earlier, it's something that I wanted to see because the Doctor has so many friends that they've made throughout the years. Why would you not see them in some way or another, or at least hear about them, other than like random little bits of like, "Oh yes, I've traveled with other people anyway," and then I mean, I don't think it's about availability.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are retired or they don't act as much anymore. So like, why? Like, why would you not bring them back for little tiny cameos?
Right. Yeah.
So again, especially as we're getting to like the 60th or 50th anniversary, what are we doing? So
Yeah.
I'm happy that they brought them back. This very much felt like, in some respects, the 60th anniversary part 1.
Yeah.
And I'm happy about that.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, it was it was a lot of fun. That's the thing,
I definitely had fun with the special too.
Yeah, I mean, there are issues. I definitely feel like there are some issues. You've heard me talk about them throughout the special, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it was definitely more fun than I've had with Doctor Who in a bit.
Yeah.
Not that the last few specials have been bad. I mean, to be fair, I fucking loved Eve of the Daleks.
Yeah. That was a great episode.
But I do think that while they might not have stuck the landing, in starting this special at the least, like stuck the landing as in the end of Jodie's run.
Yeah.
Starting this special at least, they definitely had me looking forward to the landing, and even with maybe not sticking that landing, I'm still more excited and interested in Doctor Who than I've been for in a bit. And it's funny because I don't want, not that anyone from the BBC is listening to this, but I don't want them to think, "Oh, well, clearly it's because you brought back David Tennant. It's clearly the cameos."
Yeah.
No. It is, however, the intrigue of doing something like this and wondering how they're going to play it next time,
Right.
and wondering how we're going to get to the new Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa.
Exactly. Yeah,
It is
I
in no
agree with
way...
that.
Yes, it is in no way, "Oh, yes, next time." After Ncuti Gatwa, maybe we can have the Doctor regenerate into Paul McGann. No, actually, fuck that.
Yeah.
And I like McGann.
Right. Yeah. Not that I would not like to see McGann again, but also, the Doctor is like, you have your time as the Doctor and it's special. And to keep moving on as a new person, as the Doctor always talks about, when they regenerate, like, it's always about moving forward and trying to be the best new you that you can be each time.
And that's why I definitely think
a core value and what's really, really beautiful about this series.
And that's why I definitely think, and I hope, that they're going to play this as an identity crisis.
Right, yeah.
that is fixed relatively quickly within the special, just as a way to get David Tennant back, just as a way to get people's eyes on the special, and
Right.
do a bunch of stuff as well. I mean, that's, I assume, why we're bringing back Donna, an interesting
Yeah.
pairing, but now in a different way, in a different context.
Right. Because, I mean, Donna is never supposed to run into the Doctor again in fear of having her mind completely explode, so that's going to be interesting to explain.
Exactly. So I'm very interested in seeing what's coming up next with it. However, it does seem to be coming up in 2023.
Right.
I don't know if we know when that will be airing. I don't think they've mentioned.
I don't think it's been announced yet.
No, I just know that the trailer that I saw was 2023.
Right.
Okay, well that's interesting. Apparently, allegedly, I don't know if I believe this. The 60th anniversary are episodes. I don't believe this. Actually, no, apparently they are set to be aired. That's so strange because I get it. I guess maybe because they're set as episodes. That's why. Okay, yes. You know what? No, now this is making more sense. As a special, if it was one 60th anniversary special, I would have said, really? November? But because it's episodes, I get it, but that's literally a year from now.
Right, yeah.
Boy, howdy, do I hope that Disney money will mean that we get some more frequent Doctor Who. But you know what? I gotta say one thing, though. Last time we got Disney money, we got the new Star Wars trilogy. So,
Oof.
hey, we got
Shots fired.
We got 1.5 good movies out of that.
Oh.
And guess
boy.
what? One of those good movies,
It was
The Last Jedi.
Oh,
Oh no, I'm talking about I mean the main
the sequel
trilogy.
I know.
I'm talking about
I
the
know.
sequel trilogy. No,
That was my
Rogue One was fun.
Yes.
I liked Solo. We knew what was going to happen. But either way, though, what I will say is that, thank God, despite its issues, this is what Chibnall ended with. This is the end of his run as showrunner. If his end had been Flux,
Yeah, yikes.
I know. So thank God it's this. He didn't direct this. This was directed by Jamie Magnus Stone, who's also directed some other stuff under Chibnall as well. But again, Chibnall did stick to writing. So I think he did a really good job here. Apparently the script editor, Caroline Buckley and Rebecca Rowan, I'm sure they also helped as well. Definitely think that a script editor is definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
After Flux. Anyway, so point is that I do recommend this. Obviously, see more of Jodie's run before it. Don't just kind of throw this in someone's face. But I do definitely think that this was a good time, despite some of its more glaring issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's also another important factor.
Please
I believe, my mom was telling me the actress herself, like Jodie Whittaker, is pregnant too, so that may also,
congratulations!
Yeah, that may also play in the fact of, hey, I don't know how many more of these I can do till, it's going to be apparent.
Well, I mean, wait, no. How long has she been pregnant? I mean, this
I'm
came
not
out.
Sure.
No, they filmed these a while back. So I think she just wanted to have another baby because she already had one.
Right.
So she, having... I don't think that was an issue because, looking at the time these were filmed and whatnot and how far along she is. How pregnant are you? How far along she is. Hey, just curious. I know you're pregnant, but like how pregnant? Like, no, how far along she is. I don't think that was a factor at all. I do think that her maybe wanting to have more kids was a factor in her saying, hey, listen, here's how much time I would like to be on the show.
Right, yeah.
Right? And I think that COVID definitely fucked things up. I think that we could have had another
100%.
series, potentially,
Yeah.
of her as the Doctor. But also, I do think that, yes, she may have also said, I would like to have another kid. I had a kid the first time as the Doctor, I believe. And so she's already had one kid, I believe. So she's like, I don't know if I want to do this again while being the Doctor. I think this is, this is my time.
Right.
And I think that's probably what happened. because childbirth can be, if anyone goes, yeah, no, childbirth, it really, it really hurts to, get that child out. And it's just like, no, 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 no. Horrible things can happen. No, I've heard stories of people
obviously.
losing. I've heard stories of people losing their teeth.
Oh, right. Yeah, from clenching. Yeah.
No,
Yikes.
no, but even just pregnancy in general, hormones and everything. Like, literally,
Right,
I saw
Doing
a woman.
odd things to the body.
Yes, I saw a woman saying she had to have all of her teeth pulled, and she now has like false teeth after her one pregnancy.
Yikes.
Like, yes, no, like pregnancy is no joke, and people think like, no, of course it's not because of the hormones and the cravings, and it's like, no, those are like sitcom TV shit.
Yeah, right.
Like, the actual physical effects. I mean, having a
Right.
cesarean, I was like, oh yeah, they cut you open from the stomach. That must suck. And I heard someone be like, no, it's not from the stomach. And I was like, where do they stop?
Yeah.
No, it's no fucking joke. So honest to God, like, I wish her well with the second pregnancy because it hurts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that's like. I'll never know what that's like. But I know it fucking hurts from what I've been hearing. So, like,
Right.
good luck to her. Honestly. And I'm very happy that, she had her time as the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Even though I wish it was longer.
Yeah.
It's out of our hands. It's out of her hands. It's out of everyone's hands.
Yeah.
She had a great time as the doctor. I wish there were some different stories told while she was the doctor. But that's also out of our hands. And, we almost forgot to mention a shining light of the episode, Vinder.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, I was happy to see Vinder come back.
I was
'cause
confused.
He was just fun with the flux, so.
Well, that's the thing. He was another shining light of the flux. However, it seemed like his story was told, but of course,
Yeah.
like, why would you bring back nobody from the flux?
Right, yeah.
Other than Dan, so, like, it makes sense to bring back Vinder.
Yeah.
What I find confusing is that, like...
He just popped out of a wormhole. But,
Yes.
I mean, granted, maybe cleaning things up from the flux.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm thinking, like, maybe he was like, all right, so I'm good with my wife. We're all safe. She's gonna stay at home though, and I'm gonna run off to do something else. I mean, right. I gotta work. We all gotta eat.
Yeah.
I guess that's what happened, and then he gets caught up in this wormhole, and then what I do love though, one of my favorite lines of the episode is the master saying, or the favorite exchanges. The master says, "If you're a friend of the doctor, you would never use a gun," and he does, and he shoots him in the shoulder, and he's like, "What the hell?" And he's just like, "Oh, I'm freelance."
Yeah,
because
that was beautiful.
Because that makes a lot of sense. Like, a lot of people that are like companions of the doctor, like, they are chosen because
Right.
they would never do this, they would never do that. We rarely see someone who's just like, look,
I know of the doctor. I've conversed with the doctor, but I
more
didn't
so that,
technically
like,
travel with her.
Yeah, look, I'm needed right now, and what's needed is my gun.
And what's needed is for me to shut you up for 5 seconds.
Yes. It's one of those things where it's like, no, I don't want to have a companion do that, right? Because, again, the companions are chosen for specific reasons.
Right. Although I'm pretty
nice
sure
someone...
there were some moments in there where Yaz was just, like, debating, like, do I shoot him? Do I do it?
Nah, I should probably take the shot, shouldn't I?
Yeah, like... I honestly thought she might at some points.
But she's a companion, so she's like, no, the doctor wouldn't want me to take the shot, and I wouldn't want to take the shot to besmirch her good name. Vinder's just like, I'm gonna take the shot.
No, I'm gonna take the shot.
And again, it's just it's one of those things where it's just so out of the series norm that it was refreshing to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we'll end it on that. A refreshing shift, even with some moving parts that we've seen before. Still, in some respects, refreshing from what the series has been recently.
Yeah, and a nice send-off.
And a nice send-off. So, speaking of a nice send-off, thank you all so much for watching or listening. We love you all. Take care. And before you go, if you liked this podcast, if you're on our YouTube channel, please remember to like and subscribe. If you're on our Podbean, thank you so much. You can download it as well. And also, we will see you next time. By the way, if you're wondering, to do what? To listen to what? Check out our social media stuff, our Twitter @ThoseGuysRadio, and also some of our other social media stuff linked down below. And we will be posting what we're going to be doing next. Hopefully it will be Star Wars related, but I have no fucking idea. It all depends on our schedule. What was that?
Ever-changing is the universe. Ever-changing is the regeneration. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, damn it. I did.
That's funny. You forgot about that, didn't you?
I didn't forget that. I didn't realize that's what I was doing until after I did it.
That's fucking great. Love you all. See ya.
Goodbye.